Madam Speaker, the President of the United States.
Multiple continents.
You guys know what this represents?
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs. You are.
Hey there, welcome to the Patriot Party News, and right here it says on tap with PPN, so let me change that because I need to keep that. I need to do that. I need to do better at that. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, I hope everybody's doing good, and hope we're ready to go out there and stay up, stay upbeat. Things are happening that I think we all have thought was happening. And I'm personally excited about it. Personally, very excited about the way things are going and comfortable and happy. But I believe that seeing the broader picture of what's going on is going to be a good thing. With that, I'm going to bring in the one and only, the Mr. Oathkeeper Bill. We're going to hang out tonight and talk some truth. What's up, bro?
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Good.
What
Real
what
good.
an
How about you?
excellent show on tap today. Oh my God, that was amazing.
There's a lot of information, wasn't it?
Boy, that Ed King Solomon, I tell you, he really brought it down, and Mark helped to bring it to Oathkeeper Bill language. And
Right. Hey, my
yeah,
language too, bro.
those two men, along with what's that other gentleman, Mitch? Is it Vellner? Mitch
Vexler.
Vexler.
Mhm.
Wow, just when the teams get together in the Treasury, the fraud task force talks to those men. Whew, watch out.
Yeah, and that's one thing he was saying when it comes to we've got it. We've got what we need. As far as the truth and the evidence. It's just, when is it time to do it? Well, for us, it's way past time. For us, it's way past time getting that out. But I don't know if the Lord's teaching us patience. I don't know what I could not look somebody in the eye except for to say, hey, the things that need to go on are happening and we're watching them. It's just some people might not know that those things need to come on. You were asking me something earlier in talk time, and I was running because I just got through doing a show, and I was trying to grab something to drink to come here and everything. What was that? I've forgotten what you had said. If you remember, maybe it was when something was going to happen, or why is it not happening quick enough? I can't remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're just talking about the market itself, and just out of curiosity, with we know that the earthquake itself has took off, but we're waiting for that tsunami to come through
Mhm.
that Juan communicates about. But there's so much that has to happen first
Yeah.
in order for that. And you were mentioning like the 300, the group of 300, and
Committee. Yeah.
the committee of 300, and how worldly we have to get the British Imperial Empire out of the way. So there's so much more that folks are unaware that is happening in order to get the foundation to what we know, if you want to call it the golden age, or uh, the progression of the actual proper republic of the United States of America. In order for us to get back to that foundation again is extremely important, obviously. And we have to flush out that upper echelon of the evil, absolute evil, that has their footprint into all the way from the upper echelons down to the local dog catcher. And
Yeah.
it's quite the ordeal.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So this big fight we've got going on, what have they been doing? They have been getting rid of, or their plan has always been to get rid of the useless eaters, or the surplus of human beings on the planet. How do they do that? By bringing their families, leaders of their families, or pawns of their families up into every government. That literally is what has been going on. We're watching it now. All the other things, that's the goal, is to eliminate us so that we don't take up and use so many natural resources all over the world. That's not just the white man, the black man, the brown man, the Indian. Well, it's everyone. Plus, the ones that really have always had a big dot on right on their chest for a bullseye would be anyone in the industrial, profession. Anyone that works with steel, anyone that does anything like that. The working man, which lots of times is the middle class. They need to get rid of the middle class and make it all the hierarchy versus all the ones that they think just take up space. So, you know, when you were, that's what we're doing, and that's what we're seeing. That's who we're seeing. That's who we're fighting. That's who I see us fighting. So who is that? That's the City of London, which represents, like you just said, the Committee of 300, and then all the groups underneath them. So you've got the Club of Rome. Now, the Club of Rome, you got to know who Crowley is, Kissinger, Bettino. These are people that had the responsibility of deindustrializing different countries. Italy, Iran, stopping any progress. So you got the Royal Institute for International Affairs. These are the ones that controlled Bush, controlled Kissinger also. Kissinger was a part of that. But all of these people that we're talking about is really a secret society. That's what we're talking about. So if you want to talk about how long this has been going and what the plan was, there was a blueprint written out by secret societies, and most secret societies we know are occult. They practice occult practices, and they do that because their leaders are the ones in the secret governments, secret societies, secret handshake things. And these ones that we're talking about, these names that people don't know at the top of that pyramid, are the ones that they control all of the secret societies in who you worship, devil worship, demons, witchcraft, and all that is still around. If you look, if you look close enough, that stuff is still around. So Luciferianism, the worship of Lucifer, black magic, voodoo, all that stuff has been flourishing, throughout history. And that's what they teach. That's not tolerant of anything that has to do with Christians, So you see South Africa, all these Christians being killed, Iran, Christians being killed. That's what they get up in the morning to do. They don't get up in the morning and say a prayer or think about how they can help anyone or think, I'm going to go do a good job. I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm not going to try to, I'm going to do good stuff. They get up and they're thinking of their next scam. That's literally all those things that we've talked about over the years. That's literally what it is. And secret societies goes all the way back to even, I'd say every revolution, every war, every civil unrest, every just unrest, any kind of problem, they pretty much caused it. And the people that do that are all anti-Christian groups. And that's what they still use today. Now, back then, they would use the Red Brigades. I think is what they were called. They would, like the Bolsheviks group, Zionist, Freemasons, and Freemasons captains that are underneath them. And all of them kind of have a fund that they hide behind, like the German Marshall Fund, I think is what it's called. All of them have these funds, and these would be groups that the Rockefellers were part of, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all that group. That's literally what that's all about. So, and it started from the Rosicrucians. The Rosicrucians were like the start of the Club of Rome or the Illuminati, and it just gained from there to where Now we have the Committee of 300, or they're called the Olympians. And underneath them is all of their freaking folks that do the dirty work. But now people out of the club, the Committee of 300, run those other groups, those other secret societies like the Trilaterals, the Zionists, the Freemasons. That's literally what they've done, is taken that group and then taken people from that group, which are the hierarchy of Britain and Europe. And that's literally who we are fighting. How do they make their money? Oil. You know, a lot of people are saying the price of oil, you gotta, if you're mad at the price of oil going up, call the city of London, because that's who sets the prices for oil. And we got all the oil we need. But so that we have, okay, people following us and being in the board of peace, it's just like NATO was. You know, we are going to we're going to shield them. We're going to help them. Because we want that. We used to just do it with foreign aid. You know, foreign aid. You give them this foreign aid, this foreign aid, this foreign aid. At the same time, it puts the dollar in their countries so that the dollar is used and can be used for the buying and selling of oil. The petrodollar. That's what that was. So, yeah, it's a big round robin. But Iran, look at what's happened. All that oil is stuck over there, however many ships. You know, when we're over there fighting Iran, it looks like that's what we're doing, but we're really fighting the Committee of 300, the City of Rome, and that group. And we've got to do that because that's the money. That's the central bank. Sorry, you were fixing to say something.
If I could piggyback, when you have Iranians literally saying, "Thank you, America, thank you, President Trump," and in Iran, and then you have Iranian Americans in the cities saying, "Thank you, President Trump, thank you, America," and literally going up to these protesters that are fighting us making the choice of going to Iran and doing what we're doing. And these Iranian Americans are so hurt because they understand what is going on in Iran and all of what's been affiliated and affected. The elders of Iran know about exactly what it is you're talking about, how the British came in. A gentleman was saying stories about what his grandfather told him in respect to when the early 1900s, when Britain came in and took over the oil fields, literally saying, you know, here's some money, basically. But the British took over the oil fields. So it never belonged to Iran. And then throughout the decades, the Mossad was created, the CIA, and then the infiltration of Islamic faith through these Talamods, or whatever the heck you call those knuckleheads. And then in 1979, they literally took over. They didn't just get there in the fall of 78 and take over in 79. It took decades upon decades to get to that level, just like in New York City. So these things that we are seeing, and people say, well, I'm sick of this movie. Well, stay sick of it and be sick of it, because I know that our military clandestine operators have worked generation after generation after generation since Abraham Lincoln time frame, from what my research has led, to restore our republic. So if it's going to take another day to 2 years, 3 years, I don't foresee it going that long. But my point is, so be it. And I'm going to be right here doing what I'm doing, trying to make sense of what I'm able to make sense of. And so far, we're winning. Because if you could hear my voice in Warren's voice, we're winning.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
So a lot of people talk about this is biblical. This is biblical. This right now. There's a formula out there, and it's to be a better person. It's to be a good person. It's to spread love. It's to have a little can of act right. And that's because we're literally fighting devil. We're literally fighting the devil. People that are against Christianity, and it was said, we wrestle not against faith and not against flesh and blood. I think we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the forces of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places. You know what that is? That is black magic and voodoo and all that junk that these people, whether they can do it or not, they sure believe it. And I don't know if I'm saying, even talking about that stuff is good. I was raised Church of Christ. I had never talked about stuff like that, but I've tried to study it and know what's going on. Because I know that there's another one, know the truth and the truth shall set you free. To me, they're talking about knowing the truth about a secret society wanting to and having a plan every morning to get up and kill millions of people that they call the surplus of useless freaking eaters, so that they can, run the show. That is literally, you got this demon dude. His name was William Petty. He's the Earl of something. I can't remember what, but he's he's like an economist, and him and Adam Smith. And see, this all started from the East. What's it called? The East, the British East India Company. That's what it is. British East Indian Company. They call it the BEIC, I believe. And that goes back to like this Lord Milner of the Milner Group. And he's the one that brought the Lenin stuff in and brought it to Russia to take out all the Christians there. This was a plan for a long time. The freaking French Revolution was put up and started by freaking secret societies and London and the Illuminati, the Order of Corniti or something like that, who were Freemasons. And all of these people, the Orient, also the Sister Freemasons Orient, of the Lodge of Paris, I believe. And these are all just sects that came before the Committee of 300. And it's amazing to watch them and how their group has flourished. We see it on TV now. How long has it been since that we've seen this stuff on TV? I mean, yeah, we've seen it, but a lot of people have not seen it. That they haven't seen it. So there are three main, or were, I guess, maybe there are still, but the three main Masonic, maybe it's Masonic, I guess Masonic rites, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, and it's the one that has like 33 degrees, and then the Rite of Mizrain, I think, the Rite of Mizrain, or the Egyptian Rite, and it has like 96 degrees to it. And then you got the Orient Rite, which is basically the one followed by the European Masons. And American Masons say they're not a part of that European Mason, but that's not true. But if you've got a grandfather or something that was a Mason and you love him to death, he was a great man, there is a very, 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 very good chance that he didn't know anything about it. But very good chance. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I became a Mason in 2012.
Yeah.
I was a third degree Mason. I got out of it just after more information and stuff. But the small groups around me, no, a bunch of good men, and
Yeah.
but that's the thing. The evil would penetrate into every foundation. Could be the Red Cross, for God's sakes,
Yeah.
FEMA.
Yeah.
The evil penetrated everywhere. Insurance companies, schools,
Yeah.
hospitals. There's not any place on the planet where evil has not had a stronghold, and that is the fight we're against.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do see is an awakening of sorts. I see the ascension from Jesus Christ really into the hearts of people. And my youngest son in particular and his wife are just really bringing the Lord back into their homes,
Yeah.
and they feel a difference. And after you do that, you look around. It's almost like that movie where the guy put the glasses on, and you can see the demons, you can see the reptilians or whatever. So the truth is here. The truth has never left. It was suppressed. And some things that Benny Johnson had was Dr. Stephen Greer today, and that was a really good one. That's going to introduce the military-industrial complex into
Yes.
it, and a lot of wonderful things are ahead. the The awakening is here. The task forces have started.
I wondered
The
what that was
fellow
going to be.
that Yes, me too. And that is something. And we were talking about patriots that have been working 15 to 20 years collecting the data, eh, literally um, eh, being shot at, having to move homes, whatever they had to do to survive to get to the levels that they are now. Their work is not going to go forgotten. And I'm trying to find that gentleman's name that was just McDonald, I believe is his last name. He uh, he he's going to be the what is it? The prosecuting attorney or
Say the name again.
last name is McDonald. I think it's Colin McDonald. Yeah, Colin McDonald. Uh, JD Vance swore him in. Was it yesterday? That guy's only 38 years old, and he's got
Really?
5 little ones. Yeah, he was confirmed 52 to 47 at the Senate. So
He's whooping it.
that's good. And he is only to answer to JD Vance and President Trump.
Wow.
So we heard this years ago that task forces were going to be implemented. We didn't know what. I thought the task forces were just going to be traditional patriots, but it's not. The traditional patriots that have worked diligently on many different things, whether it's the election integrity with Pat Burns and Martine and them, or Sean Taylor with the frauds from the NGOs, or this gentleman Mitch with the
Excellent.
bonds,
Yeah.
right? Every bit of that in itself the uh, will end the Federal Reserve, will end the IRS. Um, the banks are done, insurance companies, everything. But when we know that the evil intentions that were there from the United States of America as a corporation, that blanket that was over us from the British Imperial Empire, which that blanket has been removed. Our republic is restored. It's not full tilt yet,
Right.
but that foundation is what people need to learn. You need to know that we were in a true fight for our revolution. This is a revolutionary war that never was accomplished in 1776. Our true independence was not fully accomplished in 1776. We are in a fight for this right now. President Trump, whether he's under the military, whether it's true republic under military power, we have so many executive orders, the continuation of government. We have all of we have the law of war manual. We have national security, uh, literal national security books that General Flynn helped. The national security strategy in November of 2025. Read it. Read it. Take your time and read it. The big beautiful bill. Understand what the big beautiful bill really means. We don't need Congress for the next 3 years. For God's
Right.
sake. All of what you hear from Congress and Senate are, we need to investigate this. We need to investigate that. We're going to have a hearing. We're going to have a hearing. All of that is to help wake up the public to what is going on. When you hear senators say, "Oh, the conspiracy theory of the 2020 election, I cannot believe is still being talked about," soon they're going to eat their words. When people hear about the Epstein files, and then it seems as though nothing is being done about it, that should infuriate the American. That should do something to where you get your phone, Mr. Mrs. Congressperson, Mr. Mrs. Senator. You, the people, are part of we, the people, and you, the people, need to get off your tails and make some type of decision to want to better your country, other than find a favorite podcast and see what they have to say, or or think, oh, the military's got this, so I guess we're done. No, we're not done. We're still in a war. This is not going to be. We haven't even seen the worst yet. A huge earthquake took off, and there is a tsunami coming. That's all there is to it.
Amen. And it's coming quick. It's coming real quick.
Yeah.
And all that has to do with kind of what we're talking about with the Committee of 300 and Wall Street and the City of London and all the international bankers, let's say. That is the very same crowd that bankrolled the Bolshevik Revolution, the largest slave state on earth, with verified deaths of millions and a lot of Christians. Let's put it that way. Now, something else I was talking about earlier was the German Marshall Fund. That is the group that David Rockefeller is in. Now, David Rockefeller, he was one that funded all of the revolutionary groups. So he's kind of like what we have now as a Soros. Soros has his people. Well, back then, during after the Revolutionary War and everything, that's what he did, and that's how his family gained. After his family gained wealth and prominence and everything, that's what happened. Now, when you talk about the Club of Rome, they have a big agenda, or had a big agenda, was to really get rid of Reagan and his presidency. And that was kind of a surprise to some of the members of the Club of Rome. They thought they had something different going on. But first, what they had to do was radicalize the Democrat Party. All right. Make it like it is now. They did it. They successfully did it. Now, when you talk about the Democrat Party, people don't talk about, there cannot be a freaking Democrat Party in a confederated republic or a constitutional republic, which is what we are. That's not what you have. That's why we're going back to one party. Everybody says that. Well, that's because the best way for them, let's take Reagan, the best way for them to socialize uh, President-elect freaking Reagan was to drive out conservative members from the circle that they were in, and then turn the Democrats into strong anti freaking capitalist and put them in the Socialist Party. That's what they wanted to do. They had to turn everybody that is a Democrat into the Socialist Party. And really, what it seems like they didn't. I mean, they did go into communism, but we think, and I look at it and I say, man, they skipped socialism, but they didn't. We've been going through socialism for a long time. Now that they laid down this communist manifesto or whatever you want to call it, and that was in 1848. And that's when the capital gains tax was passed. I think that was like 1889, something like that. And that was a direct result, something that came over here, and the capital gains tax was a direct result of the Club of Rome. That's how much power they have over us. It's freaking crazy, but that literally, because they have those people, they have the people in their pockets, and each sect would have Bush and then Clinton and then whatever, depending on who their ancestors were, and if they were of this, all of the same bloodline, but what's that last name or their father's last name? Because a lot of them were bastard children. So heritage had a lot to do with all of it turning us into what they wanted us to be, which is part of a socialist communist party. And that's what we're fighting. That's what we're fighting first. So to take these people out and make the central banks null and void, or change them around to where they can't have that system of usury, we've got to have a gold-back standard of some kind, so that they have to, if we've got $2,000 in there, they need to have $2,000 worth of something to give you if you got to go get it. That's the bottom line of it. Whereas they have been able to just use our money and inflate everything by punching those buttons and making digital currency. Plus, they digitally hack elections to make all of that round robin happen. So yeah, it's crazy.
And here at 2026, the bad people, the plan that they had has gone so haywire. They're holding on tight for whatever it is that they can try to hold on to, and that's why it looks so asinine. I've asked a Democrat, I said, what do you see in your party right now that is the most valuable to you? What who would be your leader that you are just really appreciative of for what they're bringing forward for America? I got no answer. I got no answer. They said, well, things will come around. It's just so sporadic right now. I said, what? And it's almost as though they know the truth, but they don't know how to communicate. And I say, what if I was to tell you that I was supposed to be put in a FEMA camp in about 2021, 2022 timeframe, if our governor Hochul in New York was able to get a law signed that said, if I choose not to get inoculated, that I will be put in a FEMA camp as not to hurt other people.
Right.
And that is what was coming. If Hillary Clinton would have won the election way back in 17 time frame, she would have still been president. And I tell these people, for the first 4 years of her presidency, New York City was to be bombed by a nuclear weapon. we have whistleblowers that have come forward talking about that through a ship called the Evergreen. We have all these evil things that have occurred. We have Obama who literally built the FEMA camps and also ordered 30,000 plus guillotines. Just that little bit of information. What are your thoughts on that? Well, that's just that can't happen. This is America. That's that's World War II Nazi stuff. I said, but if I have the proof to show you, what are your thoughts on that? And I can't have a conversation. It doesn't compute to these folks. So knowing that for myself, that the foundation of what the evil had for us, and knowing today, uh, April 3rd, 2026, all of those years that us patriots have survived up to this level is telling me our clandestine operators are kicking butt. They are bringing us to where we need to be, because these plans are decades upon decades old that the evil had for us. They're old. The total world population of 500 million people. You tell people that and you show them the Georgia Guidestones and all this. Well, that just can't happen. I'm like, no shit. I mean, you're right. It shouldn't happen. That's bad of them, isn't it? But the point of the matter, COVID-19 was supposed to do what it was supposed to do. It backfired on them. Now we have a health department that is bringing it to the attention of people. We have technologies that are coming out with medbed technology in the future, but you're starting to hear bits and pieces of healing frequencies. You're hearing different herbal remedies, the ivermectins that should never have been discounted in the first place, are now coming back full tilt. We have so much good that has already happened. So when an individual says to me, "I don't see anything happening. I just don't see it. I don't see it." Take some time and look at the foundations of what you know for a foundation. Do your children go to school with masks on anymore? Do you feel more comfortable going into a hospital? For God's sakes, I had to go into a hospital. I was like, "Whoa!" I get into the escal or the elevator, and there's no get your shot, get your shot. There's
I
just
had to
so
go, and I was comfortable. It was nice. They were good.
very nice people, and the nurses are awake. I've got a whistleblower in my local area journaling every day, and that's just me up here in the Adirondacks. Nothing going on, but yeah, I've got a group. I've got a sheriff who's ready to rock and roll. I've got legislators that are aware of things. They don't really know what to do yet. They're holding on tight for the ride, if you will, but they're trying to learn. But there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on.
Well, a lot of people will see that. And, to
Yep.
anybody, if you ever have anybody that says that is in the ball game and is in the know and does understand what's going on, tell them continue on with what you're doing. This is our time to prepare for what's going on. If somebody's hit a block wall or whatever, or they feel like they're ready, well, then there's going to be 27,000 other things that are fixing to come down the pike that we're going to need to be ready for, that we're learning. I'm learning something every day. And tell them, hey, don't be too aggravated if people aren't getting involved like you want them to. Don't. This is a hard thing. This is hard on everyone. People are concerned about getting out for their safety. I mean, literally, people are concerned about that. Now, do you do your best? Yeah. Everybody, just do the best you can. But if somebody doesn't feel comfortable, then by all means, there's health issues, there's money issues, there's a lot going on. So if anybody does ever get down, just say, hey, okay, you feel that way, chill out just a minute, go and be with your family. And it's your time to get the homestead right, to go throw ball with whatever, to go, you don't have go pick up trash in the park, I don't know, do something. But it's okay. It's okay. It is okay. Everybody gets to do as they please. And sometimes when you're working hard at this stuff, and I've had many people call me and say, "Man, I'm done. This is freaking crazy. What the heck's going on?" I just say, "Hey, that means it's time to take a little break." And I guarantee you, you're not alone. There are so many people that are. If you haven't felt that yet, you possibly will feel about it. Now, if you happen to be in a group where you are keeping each other up and you are comfortable with whatever's coming down the pike. When I say whatever, I see us, Trump, and some generals and policies and things going over and making a mockery of these people. I mean, it took, how long were we in Iraq? 8-10 years, something like that. How long have we been in Iran? 30 days?
35 days.
And we have decimated a lot of their scenario. Yeah, it's not over. And they probably have a lot of stuff, but they can't do anything. That they did knock down a helicopter today, I think.
Big blue. Oh, yep, helicopter.
Yeah. And luckily, I think we've gotten both of them back, and another helicopter went in there and got them. That's huge, man. That's huge. We're doing okay, and plus, we've got all the oil we need. Yeah, prices are going to go up on oil for a little bit. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. It's going to go up. Now, Trump just said, "Hey, I'm going to take over what the Lloyds of London did." Well, you know how many billions of dollars that just took out of their pockets, which is what we are doing. And that it wasn't like they said, "Oh, we're not going to insure these ships now, but we're going to come back and do it." No, we're running the show now. So imagine everything in every country being set up 2 years ago or however long, for a long time, be set up to where the British Imperial Empire and all the people we're talking about, the Club of Rome, Committee of 300, all of these folks are running everything, and you can't do nothing about it. They're successfully taking down the financial system. Well, that's their financial system that they're taking down. It's set up for them with their central banks and everything. Yes, we're going to help them do it, but we want it controlled. We want it controlled, a controlled demolition. So, man, things are looking right. It's just, I think a lot of people have thought that it's going to happen tomorrow. And I think these arrests will give a lot of people, thank the Lord. And they're coming. And I know we keep saying that, but I think everybody can see. I mean, and I'm not the professor of this freaking crazy thing. I don't know the plan. And I don't know the plan. But what I know is that my plan is to be a better person, to get better with as far as my relationship with God, and start trying to tell everybody what the heck I think's going on. And if they listen, cool. If they don't, okay.
We're seeing, like, what is it? A husband and wife judge team, or brother and sister Somalian American team out of, was it California? There were judges, and they had like millions of dollars and all this cocaine, and so we're gonna see a lot of arrests like that as well. And those type arrests, if the cabal was still, because those are the minions that are actually a lot more dangerous than some of the upper levels, because they're the ones that would let through the child trafficking, would let through the cabals, would let through, um, and that's what they were put there for from the upper levels due to the election fraud, because you get certain Congress people and senators in that then would help to promote a judge, promote a sheriff, promote a police, promote these bad people into positions where the real evil adrenochromes and the child sex trafficking, the drugs, everything. So if you look at it, the worst of the evil, if you will, is being flushed out in the lower levels. Thank God. And they're going to talk. And there's a lot of things going on as well that have to happen in order to get whack-a-mole to happen.
I
So
want to play that game.
yeah, and
Whack-a-mole.
you want to flush something out, say something about something. Like when President Trump identifies, how was he was being sarcastic with something. He says so much, but when people say, "Oh, come to Iran and take it," take the oil, take it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's to me saying goodbye, British Imperial Empire.
Yeah.
What president would ever say such a thing unless there was a hidden agenda behind it? And I could just see Miss Susan Kokinda going, when he says that, she'd be like, "I know what he means
Right.
there."
Right.
But when people hear it without having done their research, they just look at it as a smart aleck comment, when in fact it's that of a warrior. So God bless you, brother. I'm going to let you close it down, and
All right,
it's
brother.
good
Good
to
talk to you. Have a great weekend. I'll see you in talk time.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. What they don't want is they don't want industrial progress. That right there supports population growth. That supports something that Christians look at when they say, like the command to multiply and subdue the earth that's found in Genesis. They don't want you to do that. They want you to do everything that is doesn't have anything to do with Christianity. And in many ways, all these wars are simply just an attack on Christianity. And the way they do that is the disintegration of the industrial nation states. So when we talk about these things, imagine this group over there in London and everywhere else in that area that are called a Committee of 300, and underneath them are a lot of other sects of secret societies that think that we are a surplus population, that Kissinger was a member of, that Bush, that Cheney, that all these people that have made all this money on war, hurting and destabilizing all these other countries, because destabilizing is how you do not let the Christian community do well. That is what it is. So that's the Royal Institute for International Affairs. That's the Council on Foreign Relations. And somebody like Kissinger was part of all of that. The purpose of deindustrializing the country is for also reducing the population. It's all about population control. Destabilization was planned for the Middle East with the Gulf War a long time ago. These were all plans from Europe and their top oligarch families. And they are all descendants of the ancient black nobility clubs. Okay. And that can be all of them. They can all be in all different kind of clubs. All right. So that's who we're fighting. We don't want Iran people hurt. We're not trying to go and take their oil. We've got all the oil we need. And in fact, we've made this pact with the Board of Peace. And Trump is doing he said, hey, if y'all want to go use the straighter humans, go take it. I've already done the heavy lifting. Now, they're not going to jump on that because they're a mess. There's no telling what's going to happen next. But I can guarantee you it's all part of taking down the oligarch families that their ancestors are all the way back to the ancient Persians, to the pharaohs. And that's why they do the stuff with children. And they use a silver knife when doing these things to children. There's symbolism behind this. And all of these different cults and sects of secret societies have come into the United States, and they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. Now, they didn't want to just control us. They wanted Venezuela. They had Venezuela. They had Iran. They had Cuba. They had Ukraine. They had us. We were taken over. And Trump came in, and we're fixing that. But it is not going to just all of a sudden, boom, it's over. Because these secret societies, they're dug in. But he is making a very big dent in all of it. So my biggest thing is I can't do anything about that right now. I'm a little too busy, and I ain't got a helicopter to go take out the leader of some country. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the things that I can do. Act better, act right, have good information the best I can, and maybe put it on this crazy podcast. And if somebody listens, then freaking great. If they don't, well, then whatever. You know, it just is what it is. So don't get all riled up. Everything's okay. Everything's all right. We are just recently, we had a group of people that were just trying to take every raw material out of every country in the world. And we are stopping that. We are stopping this deal where the oligarch families are ruling our lives with the usury system, with the Scottish rite freaking of Freemasons and stuff. That we're done with that. We ain't playing that game anymore. And Trump, in my opinion, has taken care of that. And I think this is going to start moving a little faster, but I might be wrong. But right now, I can see that they got stuff on Comey. I know that there are the grand juries going on. We've never seen this before. This is all new. So how long it'll take, I don't know. But I know I'm not going to deal with dates, and I'm not a prophet, and I'm just out here talking out the side of my neck. But I tell you what, I feel very comfortable about it, and I'm going to continue, and we're in good shape. Thank you for hanging out with us. I hope everybody has a great weekend and a great Easter. Just don't be worshiping old Ishtar, the god of fertility. Just think about the Lord during that time, and take care of the home front, and love on some folks, and open up a can of, I'm going to do something good today. Get up on the right side of the bed. Thank you so much for joining. Come hang out with us. If you come see us and join.patriotshoot.com. Come see me in Talk Time. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend, and bye.